Hey guys, Phil here. Before we begin, we have a special ask. Kenny, Aaron, and myself, we've been building a lot of content. We'd like to be able to share more stuff with you. And to do this, we'd really love it if you would do us a favor and go to the website, www.thiscommercelife.com, and sign up with your email. We'd like to be able to send you some extra content that we're building. And then we've heard from you that you'd like some insights on things that we've been sharing on things like SEO and social media and marketing strategies and all those sorts of things. So if you wouldn't mind going to the website and signing up, we'll be able to send you more stuff. Thanks.
Welcome to This Commerce Life. We are an unscripted podcast dedicated to small businesses and entrepreneurs in the retail and consumer packaged goods space in Canada and the United States.
I am Phil Chang, co-host and co-founder.
And I'm Kenny Vanucci, co-host and co-founder of This Commerce Life.
Our love is the journey to retail, and our passion is sharing that with you every week.
And this isn't that, we are literally not that formal a podcast, so let's just bring it down a notch.
A fucking podcast. Let's have fun. It'll be good.
Listen, you got Trail and East Van. Okay, that's all.
Yeah.
This is as good as you're going to get, buddy boy. So let's just put it in perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about the
Yeah.
Ontario guy. They're a whole different breed, so I can't.
Oh, I have no idea.
We're not that different. Not that different.
We're not that different, you and I.
No, it's
Is that
true.
what you say? Is that the
It's true.
story? Is that the story?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
So
Okay,
okay,
you're in a nice quieter
let me.
spot.
I'm gonna get a quiet place to sit.
Okay.
So everyone's gonna look at me like I'm a weirdo with my phone walking around in public here.
No, I don't think so. Not anymore.
Not
these
anymore.
days.
Maybe
No, these
even a
days-
couple of years ago, it'd be like, oh,
You
what's
walk
that
with
guy
no
doing
phone, you
now?
look like a weirdo.
Yeah, now
Well, that's
it's
the
like
thing.
pretty
Right now,
normal.
you could just literally walk without a phone in your hand and talking to the
Yeah.
sky, and everyone think it's normal.
Exactly. Yeah, how sad is
You
that?
must
true.
have earbuds.
Yeah.
You must have earbuds.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. God, look at these ships. So, yeah, no, I was down actually in the North Shore. I just brought a chef medley to the other chefs down at. They run the what the hell is it called? They're associated with the Cactus Groups, and they've got it's called Village Tap House.
Right.
And chefs can't say no, dude. They just can't say no. When you grow the right product and you have the freshest stuff, I knew I had a winner when I learned the recipe of the Master's Mix, and I saw what you could do, like with wild cultures and hardwood. I got.
Okay, but you're gonna get into this. You're gonna get into this in a moment anyway. So I'll tell you what we'll do is because you're getting to a spot where I can actually hear you and you're pretty steady. So as soon as we're gonna start, we're not gonna wait anymore with you. We're just gonna light this thing up. So just so Phil knows the story, I invited Brian onto the podcast, I think a day or 2 days ago. It's been that quick. And the reason was I was going through my wallet and I find this card and I'm thinking, who the hell is Micah Farms? Right. So I go on and thinking, oh, the mushroom guy.
Yeah.
Because you left it at the store, but the store is just not busy enough at this point. I mean, it is what it is. So it's just difficult. I love mushrooms. I love medleys and I love chef mixes. I love all this shit. So I thought, you know what? Phil and I have been doing a lot of stuff. We love bringing on anybody who's doing any type of farming, any type of raising of animals, even or vegetable. We don't care. I love people who are doing shit on the earth. So does Phil.
Nice.
And we love this category. So we both love to cook. Like we're freakish cooks. Nice. We love doing this. So I reached out to you because I thought this is a cool story. You and a buddy and his wife started this thing. I want to know why you did this, how you did this. If you know the stuff on the East Van stuff, we haven't put on the recording yet. You want to bring that up? That's your business. I'm all good with it. I don't care what you talk about. But literally for the next 45 minutes, 50 minutes, it's yours. Sure. Nothing is scripted. We just wherever you go, we go. Yeah. But I want to hear why the hell you do what you do, what brought this on, and what's going on. Light it up, buddy boy.
We're on it, man. We're doing
You're going, baby.
Okay. Yeah, we're doing this
podcast. Let's go.
Let's go.
I'm Brian from Micah Farms. I found the backstory of how I became a freaking mushroom farmer is short, but not that short, but I can sort of summarize it. I mean, I've always loved food. I mean, cooking when I was a kid kept me off the streets, you know, at 16, 17 and whatever. And if it wasn't for, like, you know, my rest in peace, Julius Pocamandi, he was like a mentor to me when I was in high school. And if I wasn't such a shithead, and I probably could have rested high school in my Red Seal, you know. And at that point, my parents all split up, and I was like kind of on my own, right? Like, I was sleeping in friends' basements and shit. And eventually the school is like, they're like, this is the fucking 80s, right? So they didn't have any kind of outreach or come and check the home. And like, my home was empty, man. It was like chocolate milk and microwave chicken and what's those fucking generic red, you know, the generic Doritos, not even the good ones, you know what I mean? Like the generic corn
I know what you're
chips
talking
with
about. Yeah.
the cheese flavor on them, like the, you know, the 8-pound bags you could buy back.
But they were
the day,
shite. Like they were absolute shite.
It was like chewing cardboard with cheese sauce on it, right? So anyways, like my poor dad, like, I mean, my mom looked and he was fucking devastated, right? So he checked out, he went to work, and the guy, you know, I watched him suffer. So eventually I just kind of hated the world for a long time. I ended up downtown. You know, I first started going to punk shows in downtown Vancouver at like 15, 16. My first prep cook job, I was working at a Greek restaurant, and the owner was an asshole. And I remember he'd come in and yelling at us while we're prepping this. We made this fucked up julienne salad. It was what was it? It was peppers, onions, like green peppers, and I don't like raw green peppers, but green peppers, onions, peas, like literally peas, and like shredded out other kinds of really gassy fucking vegetables, and then tons of mustard, vinegar, and salt, pep, and sliced deli meat. Like, so just, and it was this total mushy. I'll never forget this salad.
This was in a Greek restaurant?
This was a Greek restaurant that still had, like, remember when they used to have like, when they used to have a fucking salad bar, right? Remember when you go and people had salad bars and shit? So they had
Night and Day used to have those.
Yeah, dude, like Mr. Mike's.
Oh my God.
But like most places always had those salad bars. Yeah. So I was a salad bar cook on Saturday because I was good with a knife, right?
How long ago is this, Brian? So back it up just 1 second. So what are we talking? We talking, you said 80s?
This was the 80s, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was born in 72.
Okay.
So
okay, same as me.
What's
same
up?
as me. Same as me. I'm a 72.
Yeah, almost like me.
Gen Xers.
Pretty close.
We kick ass, man. Gen X, man. So yeah, so I mean, I've always had cooking in me, man. I've always loved food, right? And it kept me out of living on the streets, and it kept me in an apartment. Like my first apartment, I don't know if you're Vancouver, like there's the downtown East Side Horror Show.
Yeah.
And by the time I was 17, I had a little apartment over Pigeon Park. I worked at Cafe S'il Play, which is like a little matchbox eatery. I did a few broiler bars gigs, and then I played in like 3 punk bands. You know, that was. But
you lived in that. That Pigeon Park's never been. I've been in Vancouver 40 years now. Yeah. And I don't remember Pigeon Park ever being anything massively attractive.
No, it never was. It was the only place a kid that my age could get a fucking bachelor suite, dude. Think of how many landlords wanted to rent to me. Right?
Jesus, that's a rough part of town.
It was nuts. But back then it was alcoholics mostly. There were some hype guys. Like there were some dudes shooting dope and stuff, but it was pretty quiet and hidden around the corners. You know, it wasn't like the rig scene we have now.
No.
I mean, it's insane now. It's gross.
Yeah. No.
And so, you know, so that was sort of my beginning, man. And, you know, I went out from there and got into all sorts of trouble as a delinquent, landed in prison when I was in the 90s, went to jail for a shitload of weed. I had a truckload of weed. And I got what's that?
At least it went big, I guess.
Well, no, dude, I swear, like right now, I would have had nothing. I wouldn't even been charged. They would have just said, "Oh, okay," I would have had my medicinal script for that.
Oh, Jesus.
On the 90s, it was a different game, right? You got in trouble if you had that stuff. Nowadays, they'd be like misdemeanor and thrown out, right? Vancouver's a joke for the judging.
So funny fact, maybe fun, not funny, but you are not the first criminal to be on this show.
I bet. I'm sure you've had a few. You guys look like criminals for fuck's sake.
Hey. Not me.
We chose the life, but
I don't know about you two. I know about one of you because I heard the story. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't hang with people like you on a normal basis.
Well, I mean, what does this have to do with growing mushrooms? I don't know. It's quite a funny story, but I get a chance to tell my story because I've done something crazy as become a farmer, right? But I don't know if you went to the website on micafarms.ca, you'll see my story on Global News, right? because when I got my shit together and I finally did a bit of time in jail, that was the best place for me to clean up. I started my journey on recovery. You know, I met a lot of cool people. I started going to meetings. I went to a recovery house. When I got out of prison, I went to the Last Store Recovery Center. They're one of the biggest in New West now. They do the recovery day. They're still close to my heart, and I have still connections to the whole scene. And I remember the two guys that got me out of prison. One was David Pavlis and this guy, Nick Ringma, and they're fucking hilarious. Like, David's a big biker guy and Nick's this, like, you know, CEO dude, and they came to jail and interviewed me, and I was so desperate to just get, like, I'm like, I don't know where the fuck I'm going, but can you help me? I don't know. And he's like, we'll take you if you just shut up, pretty much, right? And so I was selling it hard. And so I went there, and you know, I learned about recovery and life, and I felt a freedom for the first time in ever, right? And you know, the bottom line is that, like, I've always loved farming. Like, so my grandma, apparently my great grandpa, he was like, had a pet cow. And when I was a kid, my fondest memories, seriously, 7 years old, man, riding my grandpa's knee on the tractor in Victoria, like just outside Victoria, Happy Valley Road.
Yeah.
My grandma's still alive. She's 98, on the family farm. And when I was a kid, man, it would be like, Grandpa, I couldn't wait to get to the island. We grew up in Tawasin, and my mom would take me there. My parents were really young, and I spent all my time on the farm. So it was like the cows, the chickens, and like watching the chicken's head gets lopped off and it's fucking running around and bark, bark, bark. And then me and my cousin would punch the stomachs of the decapitated chickens and let them buck, right, and hear the noise. And just thought it was the funniest shit. And catching snakes and fishing and trouts, and it was the best memories of my life, for sure. You know, because my childhood took a real shitty turn at one point. But, you know, I swear to God, it's those little memories that kept me alive in the dark moments. And so I've always had an affinity for farming and a passion for the ideal of, like, why can't we grow more food? I don't, like, the food's lost its flavor in a lot of ways. Like, so when I cleaned up, I got a job working with youth and youth on the streets. And then part of that was, like, we found some community farming going on. And then I elevated in education, and landed a crazy gov job for Fraser Health for about 18 years as a mental health addictions therapist. So I did like outreach. I got awards from the cops. I did a ton of frontline work. But in the whole time, I was trying to get people on fixed incomes to fucking bound their money together. So I ran this mental health group for HIV people, right, at the Positive Haven. And so there's all these people on fixed incomes, addictions, disability, like the list goes on. And they're bitching and complaining about the cost of food and fuck this and blah, blah, blah. And I'd sit there and I have to facilitate groups with these people, right? So they're marginalized. They've got, you know, like, they have to spend their life in food banks and whatever they can do, but they all love cigarettes. Some were like high on dope, and the other ones just were poor, right? And they'd come there for food bank week. So I would do a therapy group. And I said to them, I said, guys, let's bound together. Like, I wanted to go to I checked out God's Green Acres. And I found all these, like, even the prisons are growing food and donating it to the places like Lookout Society, like all these nonprofits, right? And I tried to band my clients together to, like, you know, group buy lentils and group buy speed, you know, buy all this cool shit. We could literally, like, put our $300 together and feed you all for the month really well.
Yeah, and make good food, like, really well.
Yeah, like, if we sourced our stuff, and they ended up just hating each other. They don't, like. The sad reality with people is there's no trust.
Yeah.
Right? They had no trust. Like, they're like, well, I don't like that shit, or I can't eat that crap, and that's bullshit, and blah, blah, blah. And we're talking about Simply Soda people. Like, they like the 30-cent cola and the big chocolate muffin for breakfast half the time, right? You know, and so I've always tried to, like, teach people about food. And then as an addictions counselor, I worked with these older adults. And if you think that the real drain on our public care system is a junkie that needs his drugs, not a fucking chance. The actual real drain on our system, in my opinion, from what I did and I worked at with Fraser Health, was empty nested, overly, you know, averagely obese, like, older adults, primarily females, women that have, like, their kids are grown and their husband died or they've been divorced and they're living in BC housing. So I had to take care of a place that had 500 suites for people on low income and disability, right? The most abused substance in that fucking system is sugar, salt, and fat from Walmart. Okay. So my job was to run a health and wellness group for all these people that were, like, seriously depressed, eating themselves to death. And the biggest cash cow is the pharmacies, man. I watched these pharmacies. I worked with one for a bit and I had to stop. And it was like showing up doing daily dispense for people that were like diabetic, 12 medications, side effect medications, and they're charging pharmacare like $1,200 a month per patient to do daily dispense. Now these pharmacies are outreach pharmacies, and they would come in and hold like a presentation, or they do this and they'd sign up all the patients, right? Because everyone on disability has pharmacare, right? So if you don't do anything about treating health and wellness, you're going to have these people that are just cash cows, right? You know, fatty livers, like, and it's really like
So
case in
sad.
point. It is sad. It's brutal,
sad.
dude.
I mean, you're not painting a pretty picture of how we operate.
What's that? Yeah, it's
jeez.
so like, as an addictions counselor, I was like, you want me to treat addicts, so I'm going to treat the faddicts. You know, come on, let's go find the faddicts. And and the drain on the system. And so we're sitting there, dude, going like, I had to do a juicing club. I was trying to get them to take care of themselves on diet and exercise, right? So I would like literally limp them over to the rec center across the street, take them for swimming, water jazz, water aerobics, and they'd start moving in a direction. But then they'd get tired, or I wouldn't show up to work that day, and they'd not do anything, right? So it was like hand-holding shit. It's like taking an addict to an NA meeting and saying like, okay, man, and they don't really want to be there, right? They only go when you go there, right? It's like some of the sports when I was a single dad taking my kid to sports. I wanted to be there. My kid fucking hated it. So as soon as he didn't do it, didn't have to do it, right?
Yeah, as soon as you let up, right? So if you're not persistent about it,
yeah, you gotta want to change, right? You gotta want to do shit. I know from my own addictions and shit that I have to want to change, right? So food was always a big source, and when I saw that addiction piece, and then feeding the individual daily dispense medications, it's such a crazy drain on our economic system. When it looks at, if you looked at what pharmacare bills the government every week or month annually, it'd probably make us sick. But the problem is that these individuals are suffering so much that if you build community and you help them and teach them more about food and meal prep, there's hope. But if you're not there holding their hands, like this one woman, rest in peace, she passed away, I found out recently, and she was like, you know, empty nester, morbidly obese. Like her favorite thing to do was sit in her lazy boy, watch TV and stuff her face with dollar chips, you know, dollar bag chips, and dollar store chips and dollar store chocolates and dollar store sugar and shit. And she wouldn't get off her ass to go to the pool, but when it was check day, dude, she's like 2 feet in a heartbeat, humping it down to the Walmart with her stroller walker, coming with like 20 bags strapped to the top of the fucking stroller full of just garbage food, and she'd sit there and fill her face all day. You know, that's addiction, man. That's the sick, sad addiction. So food for me, like when I was working at Fraser Health, I started researching permaculture. I was following Jean Martin, the market gardener. We started a nonprofit farm, but that didn't work out because the guy that the land's name was on the lease, he was like, he's fucking crazy. He's like, I'm a free man and this is my land now. Like I had nonprofit people phoning this farmer going like, hey, it's so-and-so from Lookout Society. Can't wait. Who the fuck is this? What do you want? And he's clicking. I'd be like, hey, dude, you can't talk to these charities like that. Like, I'm trying to like get people going here, you know? And, it was crazy, dude. So I lost that $10,000 later and a ton of my time and labor. And I walked. It was sucked. So it broke my heart. I had like a year commitment in there. I even had to like help them slaughter pigs. It was a nightmare, but we did it. Right. And, so that was my experience of really doing it. And I had a shot. Like I could have permaculture. We had cold frames. We were going to do crop rotations, start a mushroom farm outside. Like I was really on fire for it. And eventually, like what goes up comes down. I working for Fraser Health when fentanyl hit the streets, dude. I was like, I lost so many clients that I'd known since like youth detention centers and shit. So like within like 5 years, I'd buried like 50
kids.
That's
scary.
That's so sad.
The real flag was
disaster.
Yeah, and you could order the shit from China at a call center. You could literally go call Asia. When it first came on the streets, like, where the fuck's this all coming from? But you could actually call and get a gram of it in the mail right from Asia. No problem. They have call center. Vice, dude, if you any listeners seriously don't believe me, check out the Vice News documentary on fentanyl in China. They have a fucking like 50-person call center there where you can order it still. So it is, who cares, right? Like the dope fiends figure it out. Dope fiends are brilliant. I had a client that literally was trying to stay clean and he forgot that he ordered a pure gram of heroin from down south in the Amazon at a guy. So a guy was an American, moved down to the Amazon so he could start a clandestine lab and sell his dope through the black market on through the dark web with Bitcoin. So he's like trying to stay clean. All of a sudden, this fucked up package with a little picture comes on, and he's got a gram of pure heroin. And he's like, "Well, I didn't stay clean that night." And I'm like, dope fiends are resourceful. Hey, foodies are resourceful too. Like, think about it. I think of how far I'll travel for good food.
Absolutely.
Right?
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
When someone's hitting it out of the park in the restaurants, like, I don't know. I went to Forage. They're selling our lion's mane at Forage on Robson right now, and those chefs are killing it. Like, they're doing a lion's mane steak with a puree and a mushroom au jus, and then they're laying over chestnut mushrooms. And so I just, they're killing it, right? So I've been meeting tons of chefs and working my ass off to get this business off the ground. But what happened is I burnt out with Fraser Health completely. I was done. So I made 2 phone calls and I got on a tugboat because I wanted to make real money and I didn't want to talk to anybody anymore, after all the loss and all the bullshit. So I got on the boats and it was killer. Loved it. Hard work. Lost a ton of weight right away. Lost that desk weight, right? And then I broke my wrist. I fucking broke my wrist.
Wait, what did you? So what's on the tugboat? Like, what is that?
Oh yeah, you're from Ontario and shit, right? You don't have an ocean.
Sorry. I like.
No, I'm just thinking. Yeah, well, that's interesting because just so before you go into Brian,
it's not the Canadian Shield. I'll tell you that much.
Well, and it's funny. Just before you go into it, like tugboat, like working on the tugs and stuff
barges,
for people with addiction is not probably the best place to necessarily be either, because that's unfortunately another industry that's got real problems.
Oh no, so here's how I got on the tugboats, guys. So I knew enough people in the industry from my experience, and I made a couple calls and I got a job as a deckhand on this one crew, and they're like the dirty work guys on the Fraser River, right? So we do barges and help parking barges, and we're yarding around all in the river, right? And we do some outside work, and we were running these cool old heritage houses on barges out to the Gulf Islands for Nickel Brothers. Fucking cool job. I loved it. And I got ahead of 8 deckhands because I was sober. When they do the call outs, dude, on a Friday night, and I told them when I got the job, they're like, "Yeah, you're old and whatever, we'll see what you can do," right? And I was like, "Okay, man, I just tell you one thing, you'll be able to call me on a fucking Saturday night at 3 a.m. and I can be there at 4. You know what I mean? And I'll be there sober." And he's like, "Yeah, whatever." Everyone says that. So as soon as I showed him that, guess who got called? It took me 2 weeks to get the first on the call sheet because no one else answered. They're all wasted. And then I had deckhands that were kicked because they were drunk. And then I had a deckhand who OD'd and died in his little boat. He lived in a little scow on the river, like a little shithole, and just a poor addict suffering, man. Like, he came on the boat one day so lit up like a cracker. I was like, I said to Skipper, I said, "Do you ever realize your deckhand is wasted?" Like, he was doing like, what's that WWF, the X thing? The fucking, when they're crossing their arms doing the pelvic thrust, going X. You know what that X is? Like the wrestler dudes.
I
forget. You know what I mean? He's on the deck of this boat, and he's like looking at me, and I'm like, "You haven't fucking slept yet. Like, you're jacked." And he's
you don't even know where you are yet.
He's doing this fucking cross arm, like Weapon X. Yeah, X, like SmackDown Raw. And I was
that's
like,
all you need on a tugboat, though, right? You're not in a safe, it's like anything, it's relative. But my God, you're on the water. You're moving.
Oh yeah,
big things that
tonnage. Yeah,
seriously. And then there's the cables and the like. Seriously.
So he got sent home that day, right?
Well, no shit.
He got fired. But the bottom line is that the substance abuse is so rampant. I mean, we're coming from a culture where addiction's the biggest economy, period, anyways.
I guess so.
Salt, fat, sugar, cocaine, heroin, alcohol is number one. Like, alcohol is the most socially acceptable, thing on the planet. And then they're trying to say it's more linked to cancer. Didn't they just say it's like one sip, like one glass of alcohol a week is
not supposed to have more than 2? Yeah, now 2 a week max.
Yeah. So, what it is, what it is. So, anyhow, I studied horticulture and permaculture, and then when I broke my wrist, I took the 2 years of retraining instead of a settlement. So I got 2 years with salary. So my kids were getting older, and as a single dad, I was like, "Fuck, here's my opportunity, man. I don't want to go back to the government." So I started looking at home urban farming. I was like, I don't want any old shithead guy's name on the lease, right? Like,
how old is this, Brian? Back up 1 second. When is this? How are we? 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 2 years ago?
Yeah, this is 6 years ago.
6 years ago. Okay.
So I was about 44, and that's when I think 45 when I got in the accident, right? So I was on 2 years comp, and that's when I started researching urban farming, and I wanted to do it myself. Like, I tried to go medicinal cannabis way back, and I tried to do all that other shit, and I'm like, I want to do legal shit. And I want good food,
like real food. I want to do.
I'm happy to be a poor farmer. I'm humble enough, and I have enough humility to be a poor farmer, right? Okay. I don't care. And so I started looking it up, and there's a story with this guy from I think it was, oh god, he was like the city of Michigan or whatever. He used to write code and decipher code for the CIA, and then he got rear-ended really bad and had a mild brain injury, so he couldn't do any of his magic anymore. He couldn't decipher code, so he ended up formulating a recipe to grow in one bedroom enough microgreens to pull in about 60,000 US a year, selling in a 5-kilometer radius.
What?
Right, the guy. So yeah, dude. So I started going down the YouTube rabbit hole with urban farmers like Curtis Stone, and then this is what got me, dude. I saw What the Fungus. I saw What the Fungus in Kelowna, Brian Callow, and I'm like, I was gonna grow microgreens, dude. I was just gonna like click on microgreens. I was that close to ordering my starter kit and let's get going, right? I got a 1-bedroom. I'm a single dad. I'm gonna fucking raise my kids, stay home, and sell microgreens. I don't need to work for anybody. At this point, after Fraser Health and after breaking my body, I'd be happy pouring fucking coffee. Seriously, if I could pay my bills working pouring coffee, I would.
Right.
Straight up, just talking to people and pouring them a coffee. That'd be a fucking great job.
Yeah.
So that right. And so, anyways, I saw the What the Fungus, and I saw these pictures of these pink oysters, these lion's mane, and I started going. And this was like 3 years ago, dude. I just found them. Never even knew this shit existed. What do you mean there's pink oysters? What do you mean there's fucking bright yellow oysters? And what's lion's mane? What the hell? So I just started going down the rabbit hole. Then I found out Paul Stamets's Grow Guide, the big thick Bible that he wrote. Then I found out who that guy was. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I think it was 6 months later, the whole Fantastic Fungi thing came out. The whole psilocybin boom started, and everyone's going to grow magic mushrooms. And you know what's funny is I was already down to grow fucking gourmet before the shroom boom, they call it, right? So I was like, whatever. I couldn't find equipment at all. I was like, holy fuck, the equipment was expensive. I partnered up with a guy. He wanted to, you know, he was like thinking about the shroom boom too. And I'm like, dude, I'm doing gourmet. Let's just do gourmet. Like, do that shit. You want to go crazy on that? Go ahead. I don't care. Whatever. I'm not interested really. Like, I just want to grow food for people and feed as many people as I can. I work with orphans. I work with fucking addicts. I'm in recovery. I just want to do food. Right. And I want to be loud and proud and have a website. And I just started turning and burning, man. I was on disability, and I invested a little bit of coin to build my gear and start learning how to grow mushrooms. And I watched videos, and I went and stayed at What the Fungus for a week, learned some of the shit, came back, made a bunch of bacteria, fucked it all up a few times, and then started to figure it out, right? And I remember running around with my first like 30 pounds of mushrooms, like, yeah, man, what did I do? And I mean, like I said, like I didn't know where to take it. Chefs weren't interested at that point because I couldn't supply them, right? I couldn't I couldn't go to like a restaurant and be like, yeah, I'll get your mushrooms. They'll go like, well, can we get 20 more pounds every week? I'll be like, oh, no.
No, this is a one-time deal,
just
man.
a one-time deal.
What
That's all I got.
It's a one-time deal. I got 30 pounds. You want them?
Yeah, I know, right?
And they're thinking, buddy, I don't need your mushrooms.
Chinese people's faces. I was in Chinatown with a flat of oyster mushrooms going into these Asian restaurants, and they're looking at me like, what the fuck, dude? I was like, whatever, I'll sell it anywhere. I was like trying to sell it out the back of my truck, but I got asked to leave by the city of Vancouver. They're like, sorry, you can't do that here. I'm like, what, be a farmer and sell my shit out of the truck? You know, screw you too, guys. I got to kiss the ring to get into Vancouver farmers markets. Like fucking bow down, kiss the ring, and, you know, promise those guys that I don't put anybody else's shit on my table. But, you know, that's I don't know. Vancouver needs a little... It's a little funny.
That's a whole different podcast.
Whole different politics. That shit.
That's a whole
But I
different
learned about the markets, and it was really hard to get into a farmer's market. And I found one in Fort Langley, man. So when I started actually growing mushrooms, I would put together what I could for my table, and that was last year. I just started my first farmer's market last year.
Yeah, but how do you do a farmer's market? When you got, like, you could go 30. Your first starts 30 pounds. How long?
Oh no, that was like 2 years ago, dude. That
okay.
Was 2 years ago. Yeah,
so, but even at that point, though, when you've got 30 pounds of mushrooms, how long does it take you to grow the next 30?
Well, that would take, as I was doing my crop rotation and doing it, I can do 30 pounds a day now. I can do.
Now you could, but at the beginning,
it was rotation and learning, right? You just keep going. And I'm connected to family, and like my mom lives right on a Canoe Pass in Ladner. Yeah. And then she lives on the water in a float home, gorgeous fucking place. I grew up water skiing there, and well, in my later adult years, I was taking it easy and I was jet skiing and water skiing, living the dream, literally on the Fraser. And I go to Western Island Farms with everything I had. I just go there, and they'd take it and buy it, and the farmers just, we love you, and just keep farming. other farmers. If you're a farmer and you want to be a farmer, find the fucking farmers.
Right.
Stick together. Like, we help each other. Like, I buy people's shit, they buy my shit. I want to sell their stuff. I'm trying to get my friends' microgreens into a hotel right now for them.
Good for
You know,
you.
so if we're growing food, I think, who is it? It's in it was when the hippie movement started down in California, and it was a documentary about this amazing woman. And I got my brain is just slipping on it right now. Must be the 18-hour shift I did at the lab, but she was the true rebel as far as I'm concerned. She was a Haight-Ashbury hippie, like crazy about it, the whole movement. She started a completely local grown a local grown market. Like, she started growing her own food and selling it at a restaurant. And that was to me the biggest sign of actually rebellion that you could probably do is grow food.
Right.
If you really want to defeat the system in a lot of ways, you need fucking food. Right. We need it. I don't want to wait for my food from a container. I don't want to get my food out of a sugar factory. You know, I want to get my food from the guy down the street that grew it. Right. Mm-hmm. Why not? Like, I mean, so many people I've seen, like right now at the farmers markets, dude, it's like science fair. For the last year, it's been a fucking science fair, and it gets kind of draining, but I love it. So what you do is you end up explaining 8 different cultures of mushrooms to people, like chestnuts, lion's mane, peonies. Like the list goes on for what I can do, and you can hack nature. So the coolest story I have lately, the biggest highlight of my life today is I went to my grandma's farm, and I got an elm oyster flushed out, and I cloned it and stuck it in my lab, and I'm going to grow the wild mushroom culture. I don't need a mushroom that's got GMO or any growth hormone. I want a wild culture that grows in wood. So that's the whole hack. I love it, dude. Like, my stuff sporulates and it tastes better than, it's like the difference. What did a chef tell me? He said it's the difference between a fresh sockeye salmon and what was sitting in the back of a Costco freezer for the last 6 months when he looks at my mushrooms. So and how I do it. Huh?
What's the process? Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
So you go out and you capture the mushroom like a hunter, right? So you go find a mushroom that grows on hardwood.
We used to do it in the Cooney, so that's why I'm asking you. We used to there was seed. It was my dad's from Tuscany. There's a mushroom that all the Toscana would go and look for, and they only grew on the cedar trees and kind of north facing. It's really stupid, and they grew in clumps. But we all knew, even as kids, those are the ones. Yeah. Well, those ones, it depends what you can hack. I can't grow. So the only thing as a urban farmer growing on hardwood that I can't grow are morels, chanterelles, pine mushrooms, and lobster mushrooms, and a couple other species that are just delectable, like truffles, right? You know, they're real raw exotic. So those are the ones that I can't grow. But all the other ones, like a common tree oyster growing out your backyard, you can take that home, stick it in your lab, put it in a petri dish, or take it to spore and let it just drop spores on tin foil. Take those spores, stick it in an agar dish, like a petri dish, grow them out, and then keep looking for the expression of the mycelium in the grow out, and just keep cloning it and like transferring it 3 times. Then you're going to get your own wild culture mushroom, and you can grow it, and it'll grow perfectly on hardwood substrate. So I make baby food for my wild mushrooms, right? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm basically growing a wild
You're like a mad
mushroom.
scientist.
You're like a
That's
scientist.
amazing.
I'm a hobbyist, dude. I'm a hack at best, but you know what? I love them so much, and I've just dove into it. Instead of spending 80 grand on a university degree, I did that on a farm and starting my own farm.
So, okay, I'm just 2 things. How much are you actually growing now?
You're making Kenny's brain explode. I kind of love it.
I'm hungry. I'm hungry, first off, and I love mushrooms.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to understand. So how much are you growing, and where are you growing? And what's a Tim and Lauren? Like, how do they come into this mess of you?
Okay, well, Tim and Lauren, like, so they watched me suffer for the first year, right? So
like, true friends, good.
I've known Tim for 25 years, right? Like, I've been to his wedding. I lived with the guy. Like, I've gone through divorces and stayed with Tim, right? So he's my bro. I love Tim. Like, we've looked after each other, all that sort of shit. And he's a roofer, and Lauren works for a cladding company, right? So they're both, she's a tradeswoman, he's a tradesman. And they were watching me just kind of suffer. And Tim's like, I don't think I want to spend the rest of my life on a roof. And they were watching me, you know, go through my first partner who smashed a bunch of gear and fucking, well, he smashed this microwave. It was just fucking funny, but we didn't get along. So he took off and said, fuck you, basically, whatever. And God bless him. I don't care. I mean, I'm doing my thing. And so then Tim and Lauren came on, and Tim saw the numbers, and he's more of a math head than I am. I see the passion. I'm the weirdo. I'm the one that's going to sell it to everybody. And then Tim's like, I think I could do this for you. And I said, well, hey man, if you grow me 1 million pounds of mushrooms, I'll sell it. Like right now, I'll get her sold. Let's go. So more money dumped in, more investment. Then we found our actual home base, which is in Langley now.
Yeah.
We just built it out. We're actually just running, and we're producing, I don't know, 1,000 pounds a week right now for gourmet mushroom. I just ran it 3 more restaurants, 1,000 pounds a week, and that's not our full capacity.
Okay, wow. And 1,000 pounds. Just I want you, because I'm going to translate in my head, right?
Yeah.
And when we go buy it in the stores, we're typically buying what, about a third of a pound, a quarter pound.
I'd say. Okay, right now, if you go to like the natural store and all that shit, and they have these gourmet oyster mushrooms.
Yeah.
They're going to be coming out of like a little bottle grow place or something, different kind of grow bag company. It'll be like a large scale farm. Right. So you go there, they charge you $5 for a quarter pound of oyster mushroom.
Okay.
It's $20 a pound retail is what they sell for.
Okay. Now I'm just curious.
Pick, practice, improve. So for me, I'm selling wholesale prices to chefs. Like I'm doing stupid deals for these guys.
You don't have to. Don't tell anybody. Nobody needs to know your prices.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. But
that's what you're doing. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, the thing is that I'm still not really making money yet, guys. Like I got overhead, I got bills to pay. Like we're just coming out of the woodwork right now.
Yep.
And and then like right this time, I think Tim and Lauren are kind of done. Tim wants to travel, and Lauren and them are sort of parting ways, and it's a heartache and heartbreak, and I'm buying them out. I'm moving forward by myself, and they're part of the process of me helping me achieve my dream, and I love them forever. And so we're at this point now where they're splitting ways and they're doing their thing, and yeah, man, like, so I'm right in the middle of like retraining a guy and restructuring a little bit and expanding some more, we're doubling our volume coming up, and nothing's going to stop me, dude. Nothing's stopping me.
I'm pretty much sold on that part. I'm highly unlikely you're going to be stopped.
Maybe, right? Well,
yeah, highly unlikely.
It's that intensity of just, anyone can be a farmer if you're crazy enough and you don't want to sleep. It's just like being a dad. I was a single dad with 3 kids and a government job, dude. I got 3 kids. I got a 27-year-old, 18-year-old, and a 13-year-old.
Jesus.
And there I was when Max was like, 1.5 years old, and his mom kind of had a hard time with some stuff, and we broke up, and I was sitting there with a baby, 7-year-old, and a teenager. And I was super dad, man. I put in like thousands of clicks to do some of the milk runs, but I had one full-time, one half-time, and the other one part-time. And I don't care. All my boys, like my son Christopher was cooking for me and Aiden yesterday at the farm. My son Chris lives with me. He's doing great concrete, good. Fuck, I love my kids. And he's there, and then Aiden shows up and he comes and works. And Chris is cooking dinner and we're having dinner, laughing and poking at each other, right?
That's
awesome. I got these young men, right? So it's been such a rewarding process. Amazing. So now that the kids are getting older, I'm bored. So I don't care. Like I said, 120-hour days, being an entrepreneur. So like the thing is like having the government job with the golden handcuffs was awesome, right? Because when I was a single dad, that job was putting,
that security is golden.
That security is huge, right? But there's like tap out on what you can make, and you're working for the man, dude.
Right.
I'm working for the man. Like, what is it? I was laughing my ass off the other day. I'm sitting in Service BC, and remember Beetlejuice, right? You guys remember Beetlejuice?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Remember what the government employees are? Fucking suicide victims. Like if you kill yourself, you're eternally a government employee.
Oh, you got to figure out. I don't know if this can stay in the podcast or it has to come out.
I don't know.
Dude, I don't know what to do. This might be our first edit. I don't know.
I've been there. I was there for 4 hours to get one piece of paper done, dude. They had 6 of them. There was 3 staff and 6 of them called in sick. And I'm looking around and I'm just sort of looking for the shrunken head guy beside me, like in the movie where the guy's got the fucking shrunken head and he's like, oh my God. I'm like, so I don't want to do that, man.
I don't blame you.
I'll be official sign spinner. I'll tell you right now, I'll fucking spin signs on the corner instead of going back to the government job.
Oh, that's awesome.
So now that I'm free, I can do what I want, say what I want. I've almost got a paycheck, so I'm pretty happy about that. I've definitely had debt. Like I remortgaged my house for this farm, man. I'm all in. Like that's why there's no quit. There's no turning back.
There's ways to. I think you know what. I think your drive is there. You want to do this, and I think that's going to do a lot. you know, and then it's just, you know, it's like everything we talk about even on the podcast, or what a lot of people do. Then you just got to make sure you connect yourself with the right people that can help you out.
Yeah.
So, and if you know, even if it's pure, if you want to bug people like us, you bug us. Because we do, I mean, our whole world's been retail. So we get pricing, we understand how to do things, you understand how to make money. You can, you know, it's shit like that. And there's tons of people that are willing. And your farming community is like brothers and sisters. They are there for you if you want them to be, but you have to work at it.
Yeah, totally. And one of the coolest big mushroom farmer guys I met, he does like thousands of pounds of oyster mushroom. I'm gonna give him a shout out on the podcast. It's Johnny Tang, and he inherited a really killer mushroom farm from his dad. And Johnny's like, you know, when the shroom boom came, I think I might have been like a chucklehead. Actually, I got kicked out of the
Wait.
Hang on.
You're too far from the mic.
You're too far from the mic, or
was that better?
Or something cut out.
Okay.
Wait, so we got Johnny Tang, and then whatever you wanted to say.
And I went there to see his mushroom farm, right? This was like 2 years ago. And I was so gaggly and excited and weird. And his wife was there, and I opened up a fucking door to look in a room, and she started screaming at me, man. She's like, get off the property and get out of here. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. And Johnny's like, dude, that's not cool. What the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, I just feel like the biggest loser. So I left there, and then it's cool. Like, we're cool now. But, you know, the other day, like, he answers his phone when I call. So that's kind of cool. And, you know, he said, he's like, he appreciated my hustle. He said, dude, you got hustle. Like, you're going to make it. Like I did. I got to that point now where I have enough surplus and inventory going that I can make a living. I told a few people, they're like, why are you doing this? I said, I just want to make a living. I don't care. I don't need to make a ton of money. I mean, the older I get, the less I care about money. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be happy and healthy, right? And I want less space to clean, right? Like, I want to live a real easy, simple life. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, before when I was younger, it's like, get the big house, the 5 fucking bedrooms, a car, and a garage. And then I'm like, now that's overwhelming.
I get it.
Like, now it's like, dude, I just want to go hang out at the fucking rec center with a bunch of people in the sauna and shoot the shit. Like,
exactly.
I don't want to
camper on the lot.
Do you want to clean your house and mow the lawn? Not really.
No,
fuck that. So, I mean, it's kind of cool. Like, as you get older, and as I get older anyways, figuring it out. But yeah, I mean, I love it. I mean, like you said, like, going back to it as learning to be an entrepreneur, I've just strong-armed all my sales, dude. I just walk in and show the chefs what I have, and I don't even care where it is, what restaurant. If I think they could use my mushrooms, I just go in and I give them a case. I'm like, here, give this to the chef and with my business card. And once they see the product and they see that I'm fair, then they're like, fuck yeah, cool. Right. And then, you know, I mean, the global news story helped a lot, right? Like,
listen,
you know,
any publicity is going to help.
Well, anything, right? Even if it's like a comeback kid story, like,
absolutely,
you know,
there's a million
all
spins in it.
Paid off, man.
You know.
Well, the thing that got me in there is I've helped clean up a lot of people's kids. Like, over 20 years of service in frontline work and addictions, I've met a lot of people, man, and I've helped a lot of kids get clean that parents thought were going to die. Right. And it was a very powerful job, and it's still very powerful. And I get orphans that are actors now, triathletes. One of them's like a fucking ultra runner, and he's a psychiatric nurse. I met him when he was 16 in a psych ward in White Rock, you know? So I've seen the beginning to the end, and I had a lot of them live with me. So they do treatment and they stay with me for a year or two.
Yeah.
Because I love orphans. I felt like one my whole life, right? So, you know, at 14, I had kind of felt like no family at that point. My parents were young, and shit happens, and it is what it is. So for me, I always look for community, and I kind of found it in the wrong places. You know, East Van's sucks you up and spits you out. When we were going on about that earlier, right, Kenny?
Well, back in the day,
80s East Van was not a place that we all wanted to get out of there.
Yeah.
It's like, now it's all gentrified and super hoity-toity. My middle son, Aiden, went to Britannia from like preschool daycare all the way up to grade 9. He was a Britannia kid, and I played hockey there. We're part of East Van Minor Hockey, and the parents there have more money than I did. I was a government dad. I was a government job and 3 kids, so I was always broke. I don't fucking know. Like, everything went to my kids. But, you know, there's these parents, oh, we just bought our fucking condo down the street. I'm like, what'd you pay? $1.8 million. You know, I'm like, this is East Van, dude. Like, this was 25 years ago. Would never have come here and paid. You would have paid $120,000 for that.
$1.8 million, you bought the block.
Yeah, right. You could have had Joe's fucking Cafe for that. Look at that legendary icon, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I still go in there and look at them, and I you know, like, I don't know. I worked at Did's Pizza for a long time on Granville Street back in the day, like way back. And Did's Pizza is where the Burger King is on Granville Street, right? And like across the street from the Commodore kind of thing.
Okay,
right? Did's Pizza was the best, man. I could work there. I learned how to make the best pie on the planet there. I had the best job, dude. You worked until 3 a.m. We did the after bar crowd. I was 17, man. And one of my, and we'd sit there and I'd take my tips and I'd run down to the booze can after hours and I'd hang out with all my punk friends and use my tips to drink beer and play punk rock. It was the best. The What Gallery. Shout out to the What Gallery, the Funky Toad, the Sugar Factory, the Sugar Refinery, and all that shit.
Holy crap.
What a scene, right? What a life. And I mean, I'm lucky to be talking to you on this podcast. I definitely didn't think I was going to make it to 50 when I was, King of New York kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Acted like Joe Gaz. But, on my, with the farming piece too, like, I mean, my great grandpa was a farmer. I have a picture of him with a pet cow, right? Feeding it comfrey, right? Like he loved animals, he didn't even eat them. He was a vegetarian. And he donated my family on the Willing side. They donated 2 acres. There's actually a Willing Park in Langford. They donated that land, to the community, and they had a community garden there. And now it's a really cool little park. And my grandma's still alive. And out of 17 cousins, there's 2 of us that are actually kind of farmers. One's more of a homesteader, grows alfalfa up and he's up in Vanderhoof. Yeah. But he's a builder and a hunter, and he does alfalfa on his fields and shit like that. But cool. Out of all of them else, I'm the farmer. We got one of my cousins is the head of sciences in Alberta University. I got 3 teachers. My sister's like 3 master's degrees. I was the one black sheep crazy kid, man. I was on my own, right? So
yeah, but you're doing a cool thing, man. Farming is a cool thing, man.
Well, it's crazy because, like I said, when I had enough youth that I cleaned up and a lot of people, this one guy's dad, he's like, hey man, like my son doesn't want to be announced on the news as like a recovered addict, but you saved his life, and can I get you a call and have Jay Durant come down? I'm like, fuck, sure. So next thing you know, there's Jay Durant and I'm being interviewed. I got 2 minutes. My story was like, he's like, dude, you need to share your story because everyone's seeing horror stories about addiction now. You turn on the news, it's all about OD death, OD death, OD death. Yeah. Well, what about the addicts that get clean and fucking stay clean?
We just need to give you need a good story though. Like, and that's the thing. And the problem is, like, a good story is just being alive and clean. That should be enough, but it's not enough for the news. No. For news, it's not though. Like that's why I think you could be a real cool catalyst, because you are doing something really cool. It really, I mean, it's just a neat thing.
Well, thanks. I love it. I'm obsessed. As soon as I saw the mushrooms, I drove up to fucking What the Fungus. I think I scared Brian Callow. I think I was too much for him. I was too enthusiastic. He's so mellow. Plus, he was stressed right out because he's running a business. Right now, I understand.
Now you get it though.
No, I fucking look like him too. I got the same glaze. I'm like, and Brian's been amazing. Like, I'm still a hack. Like, I still have batches that go bad. I still have fucking bacteria. Like, I've got a dude that's 2nd year biology coming out on Saturday to start running my lab part-time.
Awesome.
And I'm trying to find a mycologist that's a PhD mycologist to come and do consultation, right? Awesome. Like, and I said, I mean, I love mushrooms, and there's so much space in this market, dude. There's so many let's face it, there's millions of people that want to eat. Like, and you eat whether times are good or bad. And actually, when times are bad, you want to eat better.
Exactly. Exactly.
You really do.
Hey, if all I can do is have a gourmet meal, then fuck, sign me up. Right. Absolutely. And if I can do it for a reasonable price, even better. So like Brian Callow, he's helped me out a lot of way. What the Fungus. I love their mushrooms. And I went up there and I just did the whole day. Like I spent $2,700 on a fucking week at the farm, and I worked there and checked it out, and he showed me what's up. I got his book, and like I said, I was on fire for it, man, and I haven't lost it. I'm still jacked. I'm even twice as jacked now. Every time I get success, I thank God twice more, and I keep going, and that's just it, right? I want more. So it's going.
Amazing.
You know what, Brian? You've done okay, buddy boy.
Yeah,
it's a cool story, and I'm really happy. I'm really happy you came on.
Well, thanks for inviting me, man. This is really cool.
No, my pleasure. I mean, it's kind of it's kind of weird. I saw the card. I thought, shit. I mean, I should reach out to this guy, and then I went on. I thought, oh, screw this. This guy's coming on because we like talking about this. We don't get. We love it. We love it. We love farming stories. Love the earth. Love the food. Let's just do this. So I'm really. Seriously, thank you very much.
Yeah. No, really. Thank you for coming on.
Giving us a little time.
Cheers. I mean, as we wrap up, like any more questions or anything? I mean, like it's entrepreneur. Like if I couldn't sell, I couldn't be a good farmer. Right. No. I mean, like my partner Tim was so incremental with building structure and running he's kind of the farmer, right? He runs the shit, and I showed him what to do, and we were splitting it up, and he's running the crew, and then I'm the guy like picking and packing, man. I've been up till 2 a.m. packing and prepping mushrooms to run them out in the morning down to the hotels and the
how you do it, buddy. That's the game.
You don't stop, No. And like I said, I show up to these restaurants and these fucking 5-star chefs are like, "Hey, Brian, how's it going?" I'm like, awestruck, and they're feeding me like the best fucking food on the planet, and I'm like, "This is
not a bad gig.
Ultimate job, you know what I mean?"
Not a bad gig.
It makes me so jealous. I'm so hungry after talking to you. It's just,
Yeah, just like if you're an entrepreneur, man, get out there, and if you want to grow microgreens, make the best microgreens possible.
Exactly.
And then take them to the chef. Just strong arm in the door, man. Like how I got into the park was I went there and I said, I went to the maitre d' and I was like, "Oh, hey, the executive chef really wanted to see these, and here's my card," and gave her a mixed medley. I go to the bathroom and I'm thinking I'm going to make my escape, and out comes this. She's like, "Oh, wait, the chef's looking for you. The chef's looking for you." And I'm like, "Oh God, okay." And then I'm like, "Fuck!" And then there's Johan Connor, and he's the chef from Paris. Yeah. All the way from Paris, flown to cook at the Honey Salt, restaurant at the Vancouver hotel at the park. And he's a tall, statured man with dark hair, and he's like, "Hey, come here. What did you grow these? Where'd you get these?" And I'm like, "I grew them." He's like, "Oh, okay, bring me 2 cases tomorrow to try." And then and then he's like, "I've been in Vancouver for how many years? 6 months or something, for a year now."
Yeah.
And I was the first guy to like muscle in some really good, well-grown mushrooms. Right. And it's not like my competitors are shit or the worst, but their bottom line is they're brokers, dude. Like all the mushrooms are coming in these gas bags, and they just pop open these nitrogen bags and throw it in a case and ship it off to you.
That's right? How they do it, though.
And that's how they do it. The markups are crazy, ridiculous. Yeah. Like the sad reality is I can't compete with them. Like it's like Costco. So like I'm not going to go after Costco's customers or Walmart customers when it's a bougie startup. It's like if you're a craft beer, you're not going to go up against Labatt's Blue and try and distribute to that many. You're a niche man. So
but you don't have to, Brian.
No, I don't want to. I'm a craft mushroom, man.
Exactly.
Like, my sticker says craft mushrooms, just like craft beer, just like artisan cheese, that kind of shit.
No, I think it's good.
So what's your favorite, like what's the go-to mushroom?
Oh man, I'll tell you right now, my oyster mushrooms, my big fat blue ones, like I could send you pics. They're like the size of your fist. Like, so their stumps are the size of your fist, and they flower out from there. They're rich, meaty, and thick, and you slice them about not even a 1/4 inch. You saute them down, you caramelize them, crisp them up, add teriyaki, and I've been making banh mi sandwiches with my mushrooms.
You are killing me.
Like, dude, like shredded carrot, shredded jalapenos, dude. I mean, while we're in Vancouver, it's like I could go and eat like authentic Indian food, and then tomorrow night have authentic Chinese. Like some of my Chinese friends are like, "Dude, the Chinese food's better here than it is in China."
Yeah, it is.
Like fresher ingredients. And even with I mean, like I love Vancouver, man. We have the best cultural blend. Like it's fucking Asia's New York, right? So we have every Asian culture here, like authentic. Oh man, you got, I don't know. Well, you obviously haven't, Phil. You're across the country. If you ever get to Vancouver, dude, I want you to go to Hawker's. Traditional Indonesian cuisine.
I've been there.
It's a hole in the wall. Dude, you've been to Hawker's, right?
Yeah,
Hawker's Delight. Yeah. I mean, I found that place 20 years ago. You could go get a mee goreng for like, I think it was fucking back then. It was like $5. We'd feed 4 of us for $20 of these dishes. I was like, this place rocks. I love Hawker's. And then there's like, if you're in New West, there's a killer Thai place where they do like this really killer. It's almost like a deep fried roti bread with a peanut sauce dip. I mean, that's like crack. I mean, it's bad. You just start that once too many.
Once you start, man, you can't. Yeah, it's a disaster.
I know. Then I become the faddict. My faddict just jumps out, and I'm like, that's it. I'm like,
no, go back to hustling, buddy. Hustling will keep you thin.
Right?
Just keep hustling.
Well, right on, man. So I'm going to put a shout out. Come out to the farm. It's at 6475 264th Street, Langley, British Columbia. Mica.com. So we're micafarms.ca, MYCA farms.ca. We do grow classes, grow tours. Come by the farm and buy fresh mushrooms. We're going to be opening a store there June 6th. grand opening. Come and you can buy local farmers market stuff. So we have like all sorts of like, oh, I don't know, tapenades and pickles and local made farm food, fresh eggs from the one farm down the street. I got this lady rolled up to my farm. She's so cool. I love my neighbors. If I grew zucchini, can I put it here and sell it? I'm like, all day long. And I said, I don't even want a penny for it. You fucking grow your zucchinis and bring them to my shop and tell everybody to come here and get zucchinis. Right? Like anything. I don't care what you do. I mean, Kenny, if you want to grow some East Van fucking weird, arugula shit, come on out and stick on my farm.
I'll come out. I'll tell you, I'll come out. I'll come out and visit the farm.
Yeah,
and I'll buy some mushrooms. For me, I love mushrooms. So I'm
I'll
all
give you a
over
full tour, man. You get the full meal.
I'd be honored and thrilled, and thank you very much for coming on. And if you need any help from us, if you're looking for ideas,
anything,
just reach out.
Just hit us up.
And then email me a link to the show, and I'll put it on my social media and shit.
100%.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it'll probably be usually 4 or 5 weeks.
Guys. Kenny, thank you so much, man.
Thanks for saying yes. Never mind me.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Take care, buddy boy.
Amazing.
Phil, you stick around. Brian, go enjoy your evening.
Yeah,
see you, Brian. Thank you.
Take care, buddy.
Oh my God, he's
a bundle of
hilarious.
Energy. Holy shit!
I actually may need to edit parts of that.
Yeah, think?
I was thinking about that, going, I don't even know where to begin on this one. I think I'm gonna need the whole 6 weeks to figure out where.
Well, it's either that, or you know what? Is you just put the disclaimer. I mean, it's a little languagey, but you know what? It doesn't matter. His story's a cool story.
No, it's a wicked story.
It's a cool story. He's a
story,
fucking hustler.
Yeah.
And he's busting his fucking nut, and he's doing his thing.
Yeah, I know. It's really cool.
It's
really, really cool.
Fuck, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like people can disregard or not listen to the parts they don't want to listen to. Just don't listen. If you don't like it, fucking tune into something else.
Just don't.
Yeah, just don't. If you find it offensive, well, don't listen to it. I really enjoyed that. I know that was a little much.
No, he's awesome. And like the mushrooms and the he reminded me of. He reminded me of Karen when she started talking cheese.
Yeah.
He's just kind of
totally.
What's stacking in the bacteria and the spores and the what.
Are you gonna land yet, buddy? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Oh my God, he was fucking hilarious.
He was great. He was great, man.
Yeah. I don't even know if I'd even attempt to edit that one, because I don't even know where you start. I think just fucking post it and move on.
We'll figure it out. I'll edit some of it, and then I'll definitely post a disclaimer, but it's definitely worth listening to.
I think it's to me, it's that if you just go into it with the mindset, you just got to listen to it. Yeah, it's going to offend some people, and it's not for everybody. But honestly, just his story is pretty cool.
Yeah,
just pretty cool.
Now I'm gonna quit because I'm gonna go eat. I'm starving. It's like 10 o'clock here. I haven't eaten, and it's 7 there. You probably haven't eaten yet, right?
I haven't done anything. We've been on since 4.
And the mushrooms,
I'm all over the mushrooms. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, listen.
Anyway,
go do your thing. We're on tomorrow morning at 8:30. Thanks for listening, everybody.